What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk. And this is really tragic. N- Not only are we having players opt out of bowls now, which if you just rewind time like 5-7 years ago, we thought that will never happen, right? It's commonplace. I bet 20% of bowl eligible teams have a significant number of people hit the transfer portal. There's even some playoff teams that have had like starters hit the transfer portal or people in the 2 deep roster hit the portal. College football has to do something about this. Now we're not only having players opt out of bowls, Marshall is opting out of their bowl against Army, the Independence Bowl. So we're having entire teams opt out. And look, what is the day? It's December the 14th. So it's not just Marshall that's affected. Army is affected. Now this bowl has to find someone for Army to play. And this is really where you just have to feel awful. Army's 11-1 right now. Historic season. They're only lost to Notre Dame. And now they're going to play in a bowl against a 5-7 team. There's no more 6-win teams left to pick for Army to play in a bowl game. And also for Marshall, you get a certain amount of money to go play in these bowls. They don't have enough players to go play it. Now they go from winning their conference title in the Sun Belt to having their coach hired by Southern Miss, who I believe was the worst team in that conference, to having 39 players hit the portal, to having to opt out of a bowl. You go from winning your conference to not even being able to field a roster. Not even being able to field a roster. Marshall officials have notified the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl that the Thundering Herd will not be able to participate after a wave of players recently entered the portal. The Thundering Herd, who won the Sun Belt Conference, were faced to set the AAC championship on December 28th. So that's literally, they're opting out 2 weeks before the bowl's played. Marshall coach Charles Huff left for the same post at Southern Miss a day after the Sun Belt title game, after being unable to reach an agreement with the school on a new contract. The Herd quickly hired NC State defensive coordinator Tony Gibson as Huff's replacement. I mean, yeah, what else could they do? They hired a coach absolutely as soon as they could. And hell, I mean, Marshall might be now 3 years away from really being recovering from this. Awful. The Independence Bowl would need to replace Marshall with a 5-7 team. But many players on those squads have left their campuses for winter break. Yeah, it's like, hey, we're not playing in a bowl game, didn't make a bowl. Go home, relax, take a break. They're not going to be able to get ready in time to play a bowl against Army in less than 2 weeks. Independence Bowl officials did not immediately return requests seeking comment. That's the other thing. This bowl, it's 3 different entities that are affected. Obviously, Marshall is absolutely decimated now. Can't even field a roster. Army doesn't have an opponent to play. And this Independence Bowl might lose, millions and millions and millions of dollars. They might not even be able to play the bowl game. Might not even be able to play the bowl game. It'll be interesting to see in the future if bowl selection committees, like if you run the Independence Bowl, this has to now affect your decision. Like if you think a team is likely to have a ton of players hit the transfer portal, you just might not pick them because you're going to be in this situation. You might lose millions and millions of dollars. As of Saturday morning, Marshall has 36 players in the transfer portal, including 29 scholarship players, 17 on the team's 2-deep, I guess roster. So they've had 17 of those players are either first or second string players. All 3 Marshall quarterbacks who played this season are in the portal, including their starter and Sun Belt Newcomer of the Year. And it's not just Marshall. I mean, other teams are like Marshall's they're the only team that I've read about that just literally can't play. So many players at the portal, they cannot play. But Duke's starting 2 quarterbacks have hit the portal. Duke's about to get drugged by Ole Miss. Drug. I think Jackson Dart will be playing for Ole Miss. But and look, I'm not saying that a ton of people are going to watch this game anyways, but you can now quantify a dollar amount that this is hurting schools. This is why it's insane to me that schools, and we're playing Vanderbilt, players like Diego Pavia, who is suing the ACC or the NCAA for antitrust laws because you're not allowing us to be competitive. The truth is it's murdering competition. Murdering. How is Marshall ever going to be competitive? I don't know what Marshall's recruiting class is. And I don't know if players, once they sign a letter of intent, can hit in the first portal window. But how is Marshall going to recruit? All you got to do if you're going to recruit against Marshall is, hey, you might win your conference and not even play in a bowl game. And what are you going to say if you're the Marshall head coach? So it's really disgusting. Like, I get it. I get players, getting paid for the name, image, and likeness. But that's not even how it's being used. NIL, like, I was supposed to be like, hey, if you get a sponsorship deal with these independent people that are kind of independent of the school, and now it's just morphed into a Major League Baseball type system where teams, have no salary cap, in conjunction with there's no contracts. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I feel awful for Marshall. I feel awful for the Independence Bowl, and I feel awful for Army, who, coming off a historic 11-1 season, might not even be able to play in a bowl game. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys later.